Hi. And I'm live. Hi, guys. Hi, I'm dropping in quickly um, to continue with my little series on common food drugs interaction. We do not often think about the common things we eat and some medications we are taking. Um, Let me fix this situation here. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, so I was just quickly dropping in today. I'm going to talk very quickly about Coumadin. I'm not going to win this battle, am I? I'm going to talk about Coumadin and um, Xarelto. Not much to say about Xarelto really, and Coumadin and Xarelto are not the only blood thinner on the market, right? Um, I gave up. Okay, I gave up. All right. So, anyways, Coumadin used to be the biggest blood thinner that was used for folks that required some type of blood thinner, depending on the condition they are dealing with, such as atrial fibrillation or mechanical valve or blood clots. With that said, with new drugs like Xarelto or Eliquis and other things, other medication, um, Coumadin, you don't always see Coumadin as much. Now there are some conditions, um, in particular one that requires Coumadin no matter what. There is that is a mechanical valve. When you have a mechanical valve, chances are, I mean, it's up to the surgeon, but chances are you will be on Coumadin because, yeah. So, and you know, studies are still on the way, and it's also because of the mechanism of action of Coumadin as far as protecting you from clots after a mechanical valve. So, anyway, let me quickly drop on Xarelto. Xarelto dosage is from 2.5 all the way to 20 milligram, depending on what condition you are dealing with. And I just want to drop on that quickly. If you are taking 15 milligram and above, you want to take Xarelto with food just to help yourself. You want to take Xarelto with food. A lot of people don't think about it. So that's the one thing I want to say about Xarelto. And let me head to Coumadin. Oftentimes, not oftentimes, always, you'll be told when you take Coumadin to avoid green leafy vegetable. And that is because of vitamin K, right? Why? Because vitamin K kind of works against really the action of Coumadin. As a matter of fact, um, when you get in the state where you are over anticoagulated, and the best way I would tell a patient is your blood is way too thin, and that will manifest as bleeding, blood in your stool, or coughing up blood, or nosebleed, that type of thing, urinating blood. One of the treatments, beside giving you fresh frozen plasma, will be giving you vitamin K. So green leafy vegetables are high in vitamin K. I'm trying to turn my phone off here. Okay. Green leafy vegetables are high in vitamin K. That's why they tell you to kind of avoid green leafy vegetables, simply because it's working against uh, 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 on the Coumadin if you have to take Coumadin. Uh, but it doesn't mean that it's easy to follow. Okay, so this is my best advice to you if you find yourself, especially if you are those that love to eat color greens, or you like some type of green leafy vegetable, which is kind of a good thing, especially if you make it a healthy way. Be consistent in the amount of the green leafy vegetable you are eating. You want to be consistent. So if you are going to have green leafy vegetable, you might as well try to eat it every day or almost every day. in the consistent amount so that the Coumadin dose is accordingly, right? Because if you don't eat green leafy vegetable at all, the Coumadin dose will be according to that. Now, let's say you don't eat green leafy vegetable, and so the Coumadin dose required for your blood to attain the safe thinness state, and we measure that by the INR value, and the INR value will typically be in between 2 and 3 depending on what's going on. So depending on what's going on, yeah, you don't eat green leafy vegetable, you might need a certain amount of Coumadin a day. So let's say, I'm just gonna be random, let's say you require 3 milligram of Coumadin. You require 3 milligram of Coumadin a day. I'm just throwing a random number to attain an INR of 2. Okay, you are not eating green leafy vegetables, and then you decide you want to eat green leafy vegetables on I don't know, 3 times a week or something, and you don't tell your physician. What will happen when they are taking your INR is your INR is going to be all over the place. Okay, so they will constantly need to be adjusting the dose of your Coumadin and chasing your INR. Meanwhile, you are putting yourself at risk, because if that safe INR range is not being attained while it's low, you are at risk of blood clots. If it's too high, you are at risk for bleeding. Am I making sense? So let's say your INR is low, they up your Coumadin so you can be in the safe range. You don't eat green leafy vegetable, that means your INR, by the next time it is checked, is likely going to be high. Your blood is too thin. So be consistent in your eating. Be consistent in your eating. That's the main thing. The other thing is that green leafy vegetables are not the only elements high in vitamin K. Even some supplements, and I'm not going to list them, I will just say consult with your doctor, look things up before you take some supplement and things. Okay, if it has not been prescribed, just make sure. If you are on Coumadin, make sure before you take it, so that you are not working against yourself, really. And I know this video is for a specific population, but this is something, you know, especially with seniors, this is something to think about, because it becomes an issue, and folks get surprised and folks get upset with that. One more thing is the salicylate. So that would be the aspirin, the Ecotrins, those type of medication. You really want to be careful with that. Again, if you have been prescribed a baby aspirin on top of Coumadin, your doctor knows why. And you may not be prescribed a baby aspirin on top of Coumadin. Again, depending on, because it depends on everything going on with you. So everybody's situation is different, and there are also guidelines in place to follow, right? So I hope you guys can hear me okay. So if you have not been prescribed, but you are taking those things, you really want to be careful, and you might want to check before you take those type of medications. If you are on Coumadin, you are putting yourself at risk for more bleeding. That, and also ibuprofen, although ibuprofen works differently. And then if you have uncontrolled high blood pressure. So there are so many things. Bottom line, if you are on Coumadin, be mindful of the non-prescribed things you are taking, the non-prescribed supplement or over-the-counter medications you are taking. You know, you want to check on the amount of vitamin K. You want to check on interaction that may potentiate the effect of Coumadin or lower the effect of the Coumadin. And by effect, I mean effectiveness of the Coumadin. And is there something I'm forgetting? I think that's about it. Oh, alcohol. Alcohol. There is not much that is said about alcohol. We are not gonna say don't drink alcohol. Um, there is a possibility of alcohol interfering a little bit with coumadin absorption by the body, so it may make the coumadin, on board a little bit too much, circulating too much. So you don't want to overdo alcohol. Really, you just don't want to overdo it, and that's really for anybody, right? Too much of anything is never good, right? Too much of anything is never good for you. So that's that. So I touched on Coumadin today, and if you're on Xarelto, like I say, if you are taking 15 milligram and above, take it with food to help yourself also. Hopefully this has been a quick reminder if you are somebody that takes care of a senior that is on Coumadin, if you have a family member that takes Coumadin, that's a little thing to share with them, especially if they find themselves, constantly needing the dose adjusted. They will, this might be helpful if they are at the point where the dose is kind of about the same. Because if you've been on Coumadin for a while, but your dose is constantly adjusted, something is off. Something is off. But if you are where the dose is about kind of the same, you don't require so much up and down, then that's a good thing. Things happen and those need to be adjusted, but I'm talking if you've been on Coumadin for a while and there has not been a major life event or change or weight loss or all kind of things, then but your doctor's, every single time your INR is checked, it's always totally off, and there is always drastic adjustment to your Coumadin, then you might want to look into, and I'm sure your doctor probably keeps asking you questions, and so those are the little things you want to isolate and think about. All right, guys, I wish you a wonderful rest of the week. I wanted to drop this in real quick, and I'll be back next week with a little bit more. I'm trying to keep this very short and quick. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.